Hi, and welcome to Lesson 2. In this lesson, we're setting out some groundwork. For you to do country conditions research effectively, I think it's crucial to get a good grasp of what country conditions information is and why it's not only important, but really essential to win asylum cases and actually other types of cases as well, including waiver cases. So in this class, I'm going to give you a sort of definition of COI, and then I'll try to explain why it's essential. Although there is no strict legal definition of COI, the definition that I use is the following. Country conditions, or COI, is an objective body of evidence that supports an asylum applicant's claim for protection. The evidence is found in easily accessible public documents, including reports, news articles, and books that contextualize and corroborate an asylum applicant's central material claims and fear of persecution. There's a few things to note here. First, COI is considered as evidence, so it's not documentation that may or may not be relevant in an asylum case. It's essential to include. It's non-optional. Second, the evidence is considered objective, or the admissible evidence is considered objective. And the whole point of this evidence is to show to adjudicators the reality of an asylum seeker's past persecution, or that the subjective fear of persecution, future persecution, is well-founded. And to show that it's well-founded is to point to documents that are public, factually true, reliable, and unbiased. A third thing I'd like you to note, COI as evidence, in principle, has to be found in easily accessible public documents. So you should be able to find it through fairly straightforward internet searches, known news media sites, and so on. The final thing I want you to note with this definition, COI not only corroborates an applicant's statements, but it also contextualizes them, meaning it shows that what happened to the applicant and the applicant's background, the applicant's identity, is part of broader social and political norms, institutions, structures, and processes. Why is that important to know? And the answer is because some statements seem false or seem to discredit the applicant when taken out of their context. So context can really help you dispel some of those misinformed opinions that you may find, or you'll likely to find sometimes in adjudicators' reasoning. Hopefully, by examining this definition a little closer in this way, you can now see how much work COI does or can do in a case. And I've already kind of started explaining why COI is important, but I really want to drill this into you, so I want to give you 3 specific reasons. The first reason, COI can help attorneys strategically decide whether to take on a new client. As attorneys are considering taking on new asylum seeker clients, COI can help attorneys determine whether an asylum case stands a good chance of being granted or not. And I think that COI can be especially valuable for attorneys who have little or no experience working on asylum cases. It can also be useful for attorneys who are working on a new country or a country widely considered to be safe. And it can be useful in cases where the attorney simply can't easily assess the veracity of a client's claims, or suspects the client may have done things in their home country to make them ineligible for asylum. A second reason for why COI matters is that it can help attorneys establish a strong basis for claims of persecution after taking on a new client. It can help attorneys ask pertinent questions to make claims clearer. It can to make claims more consistent and concrete, and thereby stronger. And that can come in handy, especially when an applicant, for various reasons, is vague on details or seems inconsistent. COI can, of course, provide the objective evidential basis for an asylum seeker's key material claims, and it can provide a nuanced evidential picture of harm, suffering, or violence that the applicant has faced or would likely face if returned to their home country. COI can also help adjudicators understand that there's no internal or other flight alternative And COI can help adjudicators understand why the applicant's government can't or doesn't want to protect the applicant from harm. A last reason why COI is essential: it can help set a precedent. COI can lead to, and actually has led to, several landmark legal cases in federal court that have set a precedent which has expanded the scope of eligibility for obtaining asylum. There's no need to memorize this or really write it down because it's all in the guide, but I'd really like you to reflect on what I just said a little bit, because I think these are all really good reasons for why you should be doing COI systematically. Okay, you can now move on to the next lesson.